This is True Crime and Scene. Today, we delve into one of the most perplexing and chilling cases in American history, the Zodiac Killer. A name that sends shivers down spines. This elusive figure taunted authorities with a series of mysterious letters and ciphers, claiming responsibility for multiple murders in Northern California during the late 1960s. But here's the eerie catch: there was no physical evidence, no reliable witnesses, and no bodies. How could someone be unleashed onto society, so menacingly free, accused of such horrific deeds? The Zodiac Killer wasn't just any criminal. He was a master of manipulation and psychological warfare. His first letter was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in 1969. It opened with an unsettling "Dear Editor," ensnaring the public's attention like a spider weaving its web. In his writing, he mocked the police, revealing an insatiable need for recognition. With every cipher he sent, he taunted authorities, challenging them to decode his twisted messages. 3 people were murdered before the Zodiac officially claimed responsibility. Yet, despite a slew of enigmatic clues and chilling messages, investigators struggled to crack the case wide open. How could a person be so brazen? Each letter he sent became a game of cat and mouse, with the police desperately chasing after clues woven into his sinister prose. As the investigation raged on, inconsistencies began to surface. While he professed to have claimed several victims, the police were unable to link concrete evidence to the names he had put forth. Their files were stacked with leads, but each led to a dead end. The Zodiac painted himself as an unstoppable force, but the police were left grasping in the dark. More letters arrived, each dipped in the macabre. One contained a cipher that, once decoded, revealed the words "I like killing people because it is so much fun." His brazen attitude struck fear into the hearts of readers and instilled disbelief among law enforcement. Who was this man, this monster, and how was he able to evade capture so easily? The more cryptic his messages became, the more questions arose. Who was the Zodiac? As detectives scrutinized family trees, criminal records, and personal histories, parallels began to emerge. Theories sprouted like wildflowers, painting a tapestry of potential suspects: a troubled veteran, an angry family member, or even a disgruntled citizen seeking notoriety. Then came a turning point. Erring police officer on the case received a tip-off about a man who was supposedly creating ciphers for fun. Desperate yet intrigued, they followed the lead. But when they arrived, they found a different story, a chilling testament of misdirection. Maybe it's all a ruse, the officer speculated, his heart racing. Maybe there's someone else pulling the strings. Even as time passed and the Zodiac Killer's claims spread fear throughout California, something changed. His communications became less frequent, and the profile surrounding him shifted. Was he watching? Was he still killing? Or had the twisted mind that created this nightmare grown tired of the game? Just when authorities thought they could finally catch a break, a shocking twist emerged. In 1971, a letter arrived claiming yet another murderer victim they had never even identified. "I killed again," it read chillingly, "but you'll never find her." The letter sent detectives into a flurry, reigniting investigations into both unsolved cases and missing persons reports. The unsettling sensation that this killer was still out there grew solidified with every new revelation. As a team of detectives worked tirelessly to decipher old leads, conflicting theories began to surface. Was the Zodiac a master criminal, a lazy psychopath soaking in the thrill of evading capture? Or perhaps he was something more elusive, a ghost haunting the margins of their investigations? Then came the media spectacle, where theories flew like sparks. Did the Zodiac Killer have links to other unsolved crimes? Was he a serial killer on the cusp of being caught, or a desperate man hunting for his next target? The air grew dense with anticipation. Each time they believed they were getting close, they would tumble back into chaos. And then the most shocking discovery surfaced. A local journalist wrote an entire book on the Zodiac's encrypted messages and identified potential suspects with surprising clarity. Among them stood a name rarely, if ever, mentioned in the investigations: Arthur Leigh Allen. Allen had been linked vaguely to some of the investigation's threads, but the authorities had dismissed his connection due to lack of evidence. The journalist's work turned the tide. Could this man be the killer? As they began to unearth more pieces of the puzzle, they discovered that Allen possessed knowledge of ciphers, could manipulate letters, and shared unexplained ties to potential victims. But still, despite the numerous theories and tantalizing leads, the killer remained disguised in the shadows, slipping through the fingers of law enforcement like smoke. With each turn, an intoxicating mix of dread and desire swirled around them. What if they were merely pawns in the Zodiac's twisted chess game? As the historical narrative spiraled deeper into obscurity, supporters rallied behind Arthur Leigh Allen, calling him a scapegoat. The contradictory evidence left many questioning, pushing them further into uncertainty. I apologize for that oversight. Let's continue the story seamlessly, maintaining the narrative format and ensuring that we conclude the story definitively in Part 2. Here's the continuation. True Crime and Scene: The Zodiac Killer Part 2. As the media frenzy surrounding the Zodiac Killer escalated, law enforcement scrambled to respond. The haunting narrative of Arthur Leigh Allen loomed ever larger. Could he truly be the monster behind the letters, lurking in plain sight? As detectives reviewed the journalist's findings, they felt the pressure mounting. They needed undeniable proof to take his name and shatter the Zodiac's carefully crafted facade. Decoding the letters and ciphers had become an obsession for many. Every character was dissected, scrutinized for hidden messages. With Allen's name now linked inextricably to the mythology of the Zodiac, authorities began digging through old records and re-interviewing witnesses. Could an old photo of Allen from a nearby area finally connect the dots? New investigators pored over evidence, plagued by the questions: what if Allen was the Zodiac? Were the victims all merely pawns in a gruesome game? And then, once again, twists began to emerge like branches from a gnarled tree. While digging deeper, investigators stumbled upon an old tape recording, an interview of Allen from years prior. His voice dripped with arrogance as he dismissed suspicions about his involvement. "People like a story," he said dismissively. "Let them have their monster." But the real revelation came when they learned he had ties to some of the Zodiac's confirmed victims. The unsettling connections sparked feverish energy in the investigative team. They had something substantial to work with, a ground to build a case. Would they finally bring the Zodiac to justice? Or was it merely another wild goose chase? As rumors swirled, the case began drawing in amateur sleuths, web sleuths, and conspiracy theorists. The Zodiac Killer became a dark pop culture phenomenon. Documentaries and podcasts flooded the airwaves, each seeking to shed light on the perplexing case. Online forums exploded with theories, debates flared, and the hunt for the truth turned into an obsession. Then, just as public interest reached its fever pitch, the Zodiac Killer resurfaced in the news. A new letter arrived at a local newspaper. The chilling message echoed the same cryptic style as before, reigniting fear and uncertainty. "You people need to get back to work. It's no fun without you," it read. Was it a sick joke? Was this a sign of the Zodiac's return? The letter sent investigators scrambling, reinvigorated by the dread of a phantom haunting their every step. Could this mean Allen was still out there? Detectives pulled in every lead they had. Yet, what they didn't expect was the most haunting twist of all. A psychic named Sylvia would claim to have information on the Zodiac. Intrigued yet cautious, investigators decided to meet with her. Sylvia's vision described a secluded area where the Zodiac might have hidden items connected to his crimes. Could this be the missing piece? The detectives followed her chilling lead, venturing into a dense thicket of woods. An eerie quiet consumed the air as they combed through the underbrush, hearts pounding with anticipation. After hours of searching, they discovered a stash buried beneath the stony outcrops, several items including a wristwatch, a wallet, and even a chilling reminder of the Zodiac stance, a piece of the original cipher, not almost beyond recognition by time, but unmistakably tied to the letters sent to the police years ago. New hope surged within the investigative team as they returned to the precinct with their findings. Each newfound piece of evidence seemed like a link, slowly forging connections that had escaped their grasp for decades. Here was tangible proof that merged the past whispers with the present fears. However, the deeper they dug, the more unsettling truths emerged. Strange coincidences began to pile up surrounding Arthur Leigh Allen. Connections to other unsolved murders flooded into their awareness. Could Allen represent a broader web of horrors? Was he a solitary killer, or could he have connections with others who might be equally culpable? As the investigators connected these dots, a chilling notion crept into the forefront. What if Allen was merely a player in a more monstrous game? Rumors swirled about secret societies and hidden networks that thrived within the shadows. The suspected power dynamics turned the focus away from just a single killer and broadened the scope to a collective of calculated horrors. Heart-pounding, the detectives faced another twist. A letter arrived again, this time addressed to law enforcement directly. Bringing me in doesn't mean you've won. The game has just begun. A wave of dread washed over them. It was as if the Zodiac was still in control, mocking their every effort. The walls seemed to close in as they prepped for a showdown. Could they unmask the Zodiac once and for all? A public plea was announced. They would reveal Allen's name and seek the public's help. Every newspaper printed his photo alongside the haunting letters. Every channel covered the new findings. The hunt was on, as a crescendo of tension roared through the community. And the world watched. An unexpected twist placed everything in jeopardy. Allen, suffering from terminal illness, was found dead shortly thereafter, before he could be formally charged. The killer's identity remained hidden in murky depths while the Zodiac taunted yet again from beyond the grave. The mystery of the Zodiac Killer may not have reached closure, but the web of horrors it exposed has just begun to unravel. What secrets lie hidden, and who else is connected to this horrifying tale? Stay tuned for the next chapter as the debate simmers if the Zodiac is truly gone or if the dark legacy of this enigma still resides among us, waiting to strike again. The line between predator and prey blurs further still, as the hunt for truth continues.